Now it's really Pacers against the world. That and so much more coming up on the Central Indiana Sports Report's 10-minute daily report. 10 minutes tailored specifically for Central Indiana sports fans. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, and I love Central Indiana sports. Today is May 11, 2026, and we start, as we do every day, with a segment called We Start With Headlines. It's hard being a Pacers fan. The Fever go on the road for the first time on Wednesday. Purdue Baseball sweeps IU with 3 dramatic wins over the weekend. IU softball is in the NCAA Tournament for the 4th straight year. NAIA baseball and softball tournaments are underway. Practice begins Tuesday for the 110th Indianapolis 500. Anthony Richardson reportedly impressive at Colts voluntary camp. Plus local news and notes and a look ahead to the weekend local high school sports. Quick programming note before we get going. We had Reaction Podcast Saturday after the Fever loss and Christian Lundgaard's win at the road course at IMS on Saturday, and a profanity-laden reaction to Sunday's NBA Draft Lottery. Please go check those out. Working on an IU report for later this week. I'll talk some IU football. And we will have IndyCar reports every day this week starting tomorrow, and a Fever report following almost every game, unless they're on the West Coast like they are on Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us. Your 10-minute update begins now. The Indiana Pacers will not have a first-round draft pick following Sunday's draft lottery. I'm not a conspiracist. I just cannot remember the last time the Pacers got any luck in one of these things. Kevin Pritchard apologized after the lottery. No real need. It's still a good trade, at least for the short term. Zubac is far more valuable than anybody in this draft was going to be over the next couple of years. At least you think so. And Pritchard and Rick Carlisle have both indicated that they're not done building a potential championship roster for next year. It'll be interesting to see where they go from here. And when they do something, we'll let you know on the Pacers report and on this show. And in the NBA playoffs over the weekend, who cares? Looking like it's going to be Thunder Knicks in the finals, and that would really suck. Our only hope that doesn't happen is probably the Spurs, and I don't want them either. I don't want a team this young getting that kind of experience. The other option is the Pistons, and that sucks too. They look to go 3-1 on the Cavs in Cleveland tonight, and the Thunder will look to sweep the Lakers in LA. Actually, watching the Lakers, Sixers, Cavs, and Celtics all go down in flames has been pretty fun. Of course, we reacted to the Fever's 107-104 loss to the Dallas Wings in their season opener with John Robertson and Michelle Garman following the game. We will do that all summer. Of course, with that being said, it's not going to happen after their next game on Wednesday. The Fever in Los Angeles to face the Sparks. It'll be a little too late for us to do a reaction podcast. The plan for right now is to get her reaction to Wednesday night's game on this show on Thursday. The Fever scored 104 points in their season opener, the 5th most in franchise history in a single game, and their most ever in a season opener. Of course, they also gave up 107, and that was the issue. Caitlin Clark, 20 points and 7 assists in her first game back from her injury, and left us wanting a little bit more. I think we'll see more from her in the game late Wednesday night. Kelsey Mitchell picked up where she left off last year when she was WNBA MVP runner-up. She had a game-best 30 points. After Wednesday, the next 4 games are at home starting Friday against the Mystics. Late last week, Stephanie White was named an assistant coach for USA Women's World Cup team that will play in Berlin in September. What a dramatic sweep by the Purdue Baseball team over the weekend, taking 3 straight from rival IU in West Lafayette. The Boilermakers now 35-15 on the year, trailed at the end of the 6th inning in all 3 games. On Friday, they rallied back from 8-0 and 9-2 down, and then scored the final 4 runs on Sunday for an 11-8 victory. Purdue's now 18-9 in the Big Ten, tied for 4th place with Oregon, just a game behind USC for 3rd, and 2 games behind Nebraska for 2nd, with number 1 UCLA way out in front. The regular season comes to an end this weekend at Iowa. The top 4 teams in the Big Ten automatically advance to the Big Ten quarterfinals, so big weekend ahead for the Boilermakers. First, a big home game against 22-28 Ball State on Tuesday. The 21-30 Hoosiers will not make the Big Ten tournament. However, IU is one of 64 teams that will play in the NCAA softball tournament, their fourth straight trip to the tournament under head coach Shonda Stanton. The 42-14 Hoosiers will play in the Knoxville Regional, open up Friday at 8 o'clock against number 7 Virginia in the double elimination tournament. Number 2 Tennessee opens the tournament at 5:30 against Northern Kentucky. Number 3 Georgia and number 6 Clemson are in the same Super Regional and will play in the Athens, Georgia Regional. And we will have results for you throughout the tournament on the show. The NAIA baseball tournament gets underway at 10 different locations on Monday, including at Upland, where number 1 Taylor drew a first-round bye in the double elimination regional and will play at 6 o'clock. The first game of the day against either Mount Mercy, Iowa, or Shawnee State. Indiana Tech is about to get underway against Abraham Butler in the second game at Taylor. And Indiana Tech is about to get underway against Abraham Butler in the second game at Taylor. Indiana Wesleyan is currently playing William Woods in Kingsport, Tennessee. The game 0-0 in the bottom of the 6th as I record. And an all-Indiana first-round game in Bellevue, Nebraska is about to get underway. Huntington of the Crossroads League against IU Southeast of the River States. Marion is about to play Louisiana Christian in Lawrenceville, Georgia. And the regional champions will all be crowned on Thursday, with the winners advancing to Lewiston, Iowa for the NAIA World Series. In the NAIA softball tournament, Indiana Wesleyan is in Columbia, Kentucky, and will take on Missouri Baptist at 2:30 on Monday. With a win today, the Wildcats will play at 2:30 on Tuesday. If they lose, they'll try to avoid elimination at noon. Marion is playing Columbia, Missouri in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and Indiana Tech is playing Truett McConnell of Georgia in Mobile, Alabama as we speak. St. Francis is in Oregon and will play Texas A&M Texarkana later today. The 10 regional champions advance to the World Series in Columbia, Georgia. We will have all of the softball and baseball results and updates for you on Tuesday's show. It's the last day before IMS comes alive with practice all week for the 110th Indianapolis 500 starting Tuesday at noon. Alex Blows, the defending 500 champion, the 3-time reigning series champion, and the championship leader entering the event. He's also the current betting odds favorite to repeat as 500 winner at 5-1, just ahead of 2-time Indy 500 champion Joseph Newgarden at 6-1, Pato O'Ward at 8-1, Scott McLaughlin, David Malukas, and Kyle Kirkwood are all 10-1. Some others of interest: 2-time winner Takuma Sato and 2016 winner Alexander Rossi are 18-1. Local favorite Connor Daly 20-1. Another local favorite Ed Carpenter, Saturday's winner on the road course Christian Lundgaard, and 4-time Indy 500 champion Elio Castro Neves, each 25-1. And Graham Rahal is 30-1. The weather forecast for the week looks great. 78 and sunny on Tuesday, mid-60s the rest of the week, with the first sign of rain appearing Saturday. Let's hope that doesn't happen. We'll have IndyCar reports each day that there's track action, at least we hope to, including, of course, reactions to this week's qualifications and the 500 on the 24th. By the way, practice Tuesdays on FS2 at noon and then FS1 starting at 4. The Reds recovered from their sweep by the Cubs by beating the Astros 2 out of 3 over the weekend, 3-1 on Saturday behind Chase Burns, and 5-0 Sunday behind Andrew Abbott. And the Cubs finally lost Saturday and Sunday to the Rangers, so the Cubs now lead the Brewers and Cardinals by 3.5 games, and the Reds and Pirates by 5, with the division's worst record, 22-19. The entire division is off on Monday. The Reds host the Nationals for 3 games, and the Cubs are in Atlanta for a battle of division leaders Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. There will be no MLB report this week. Will Rutherford is unavailable. It'll return next week, and we'll continue to talk about Major League Baseball, particularly the NL Central, particularly the Cubs and Reds, daily on the show. Some national news and notes: the Sixers and the Flyers both got swept over the weekend. Hilarious. The Carolina Panthers, the first team to advance to the conference semifinals in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Colorado looks to go up 3-1 in Minnesota tonight at 8 o'clock on ESPN. Shane Van Gisbergen led 74 of 96 laps en route to his first career NASCAR victory Sunday at Watkins Glen. And Christopher Rattan won the Truist Championship at Quail Hollow by 2 shots over Ricky Fowler and Nikolai Hogard. And some local news and notes in Colts news. Word is Daniel Jones is in the process of making a full and speedy recovery that Coach Steichen called phenomenal. And ESPN Stephen Holder reports that Anthony Richardson has, quote, given the Colts something to think about, unquote, with his performance at voluntary offseason workouts. Very interesting. The Indy 11 earned a 2-1 victory over Sporting Jacks on Saturday at Carroll Stadium. They're now 3-2-3 and in 8th place in Group A in the USL, and they go to Fort Wayne on Saturday for a USL Cup matchup. And one of our favorites, Lawrence North running back Zay Moore, tweeted Saturday that he's been offered by Purdue after committing to Miami of Ohio last week. Strange world we're living in. And Carmel sophomore quarterback Christopher Harris tweeted he's been offered a scholarship by Bowling Green. And in high school sports, some games to watch on the high school baseball fields on Monday. Tipton is at Tri-Central. I hear those teams don't like each other very much. Blackford is at Jay County. I hear that's a pretty big rivalry too. 12-6 Pendleton Heights is at 13-4 Shenandoah. 17-4 Alexandria is at home against Westdale. LaPel visits Heritage Christian. Class A number 3 Rossville's at Class 3A number 3 Western. Elwood hosts Monroe Central. Hamilton Heights is at Mount Vernon. Noblesville hosts Kokomo. And Fishers is at home against Lafayette Jeff. And in the game of the night, 14-3 Northwestern against 16-4 Wabash in a big Three Rivers Conference contest. The Tigers are currently tied in first place at 4-1 atop the league standings with Manchester and Peru. In softball, it's unbeaten Alexandria at home against Windlass Taylor. Tipton's at Madison Grant. LaPel visits Wapahani. Western hosts Tippecanoe Valley. Tri-Central goes to Sheridan for a Hoosier Heartland contest. A Hamilton County rivalry, Carmel is at Fishers. And in the game of the night in high school softball, Class 4A number 8 Noblesville visits Class 3A number 1 Yorktown. The IHSA postseasons get underway on Wednesday with boys volleyball sectionals at 16 sites. Locally, Carmel, Fishers, Guerin, Hamilton Southeastern, Noblesville, Kokomo, and Peru are at the Hamilton Southeastern sectional. University and North Central go to Pike. Lawrence North, Lawrence Central, and Heritage Christian are at Cathedral, and New Palestine is at Franklin Central. We will have full scoreboards on the Central Indiana Sports Report Network for every IHSA postseason coming up this spring, starting on Wednesday with a couple of local boys volleyball quarterfinals, Kokomo Westfield and Noblesville Peru at Hamilton Southeastern, all the way through the baseball state finals on June 20th. Thanks so much for listening. Now you know everything I know about Central Indiana sports, and we'll be back tomorrow. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.